So after reading chapter 1 and watching the video on the school shooters, the first question asks, to what extent do the people agree with each other and want to find a solution? And to what extent do they disagree and just kind of take sides on problems? And I see that to the extent that they realize there is a problem, that's the extent that they show that they care. They realize that school shooting and school shooters are a problem and there has to be a solution to it. The disagreement comes when they try to find the solution. And I think a perfect example was there was a clip and a moment in the video when Mika Brzezinski argued and said, well, why does he have to have so many guns in his apartment? Why can't he just have maybe a pistol? Or, why does he have to have an assault rifle? Even though he bought them legally, why should he have so much? And in which Joe replied, and he said, well, he got them legally. And not only that, but who's going to enforce that? Who's going to say how much you can have? Or what's the right amount? What's too little? So we see that they all realize there's a problem, but they all have disagreements on how it should be solved. And that rolls into the second question. We see that with a lot of these issues, they want to get to the bottom line. They want to see what's really going on and what the problem is. The problem often is that they just disagree on what should happen. One person thinks this is best, another person thinks that's best. But overall, I think that they want to find the answer to the question. And I think that Mike puts it best when, the only time he speaks throughout the video. And he says that, there's not one solution to this problem. You can't solve everything. And I think often they want to find the perfect solution, but there's not just one perfect solution. And then even when you find something that works, it's not going to be effective for everything. It's not going to solve everything. There's trade-offs. And with that in mind, we see that they want to get to the bottom of the issue, but they just disagree on how it should be seen. But I think if they should kind of look and question themselves, as I talked in chapter 1, and question their own beliefs and motives, I think they could see, well, is this going to solve everything? Is this issue going to solve everything? As Joe said, if the school shooter, if they didn't put his name on the news, would that help? Or as Mika said, or Mika, if we had less guns, would that help? And I think when we see both of those answers are very valid, but they're not going to completely solve the issue. So we see that if they realize that there's more to it than just one thing, I think that they can get closer and closer to finding a solution to the problem. And that's what I saw, at least when I watched and from reading the book and trying to use the critical thinking to the best I could.